All right, so if you're a gospel or Christian bass player and you've ever struggled with trying to figure out what to play in a song, I mean, you can kind of figure out where the song is going. You can pick out some of the licks and those types of things in the song. But when it comes to making the song your own, it's somewhat of a struggle. Well, I want to tell you something. I believe many people have overlooked some very, very simple, practical things that they can do simply using the pentatonic scales that will come across sounding really dope if you do it right. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. So be sure to hang around all the way to the end. All right, so welcome back, guys. We're jumping right into this lesson. We're going to talk today again about speed with pentatonics. And pentatonics is something that I think a lot of people know about it, but I don't think people really know how much of a gold mine using the pentatonics is, because I've been using the pentatonics for years and there's just so much information with the pentatonic, using pentatonic scale. All right, so just for a point of reference, let's use the key of C major, right? And in particular, we're going to deal with the major pentatonic. And again, I believe there's so much value that we can take away from just simply using the pentatonics and getting fluent with the pentatonics. Now, for my first point, learn how to cover the fretboard. And what I mean by this, be able to try to cover this entire fretboard. So something that I like to do in the key of C, I've talked about this many times before in my monthly membership lessons, but I'll take something simple like key of C, since this pretty much our first fret that we start on, especially with a 5-string bass. If I take that C major pentatonic, I can run it all up and down this fretboard. So here's what it looks like. Right? And again, C is one of those keys that you can like simply cover the whole fretboard, but we can take that same shape, start in a different place, and do this with almost any key. But for right now, we're going to use the key of C major. Well, first things first, if you don't know what a pentatonic scale is, it's simply a 5-note scale, penta, 5. That's a simple version of what a pentatonic scale is. So we're using, like in the key of C, we're using a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Those are your 5 notes. That's your entire pentatonic scale, right? For that major pentatonic. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1, 2, and then we can switch it up right there. But you're literally playing those 5 notes over and over and over again. Now, the thing that makes it sweet, and we'll get more into as we progress in this lesson, but the thing that makes it sweet is being able to come up with your own combinations of how to use this major pentatonic scale. So again, right? And there I'm landing on the 3rd note. Now, something that I can do is, now if I know my positions for this major pentatonic, is I can descend right in that C major position there, right? And I can start my pattern all the way back over again. All the way to my high C. So again, this looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, descend. Right? We're descending with that block shape. Right? 3, 2, 1, 6, 5, 3, 2, 1. All right, so really quick, have you ever spent too much time searching for videos on YouTube trying to figure out how to play a certain thing, only to waste your time 30 minutes in the search bar to go through 15-20 minutes of a video, and it's not what you need? Many of you guys who follow me and you know about me, you know I make tracks for you to play and jam along to, and I also make these jam tracks, gospel jam tracks, on my site available for purchase. But today I want to give you something for free just just for watching this video. I want to give you a dope jam track for you to work out to. Also, I want to give you the actual sheet music and the tab that goes along with it, in addition to the video lesson to break down exactly what I did in the track that you're hearing me play. So you'll hear all of that stuff, and I want to make it available to you because I know it's going to be super valuable for you in your practice time. All you got to do is simply click the link at the end of this video, or you can find a link in the description, or it might be up here on the screen somewhere. So be sure to claim your free bass lesson as well as your tracks and your sheet music so you can continue to grow and unlock your sound. All right, peace. And so once we get used to what that looks like, the point number 2, get used to what it sounds like. So if I can get used to what that pentatonic sounds like in every key. Now, a trick that I try to tell my students in terms of remembering the major pentatonic, it's going to sound kind of corny, but it's a good way for you to remember. The opening line of My Girl, you remember the Temptations. Mostly everybody's heard that song, you know, and the first thing most bass players think about is, right? But what comes after that? That's your major pentatonic right there, and that's the easy way to remember it. But that's not the only way to remember it, because if I remember what those tones sound like, I'm more likely to pull them out when it comes to the right context of the song. I can pull this out and just use it at my leisure. So now if I know it's right, if I know boom, 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 doo, 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 then it also has to sound, the reverse has to sound the same. So if I do that up 2 octaves, and so now I can start playing around with what I'm using. Now I can put that to a metronome as well. Right? And so I just take that and play around. Even if I'm not covering the full fretboard, I just take that little bit, those 2 octaves, and start playing around with a metronome. Right? And so that right there in itself will give me a lot more ground to cover. And so here's the other thing. Of course, everybody want to know about the tricks when you start flipping it and adding your own little feel to it. So now we start repeating patterns. Now that's one variation of a pattern that we can do and create an exercise with that pattern. So again, what that looks like. So now I'm going back to that 6 and restarting the pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1, 2, 6. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 1, 2, 6. Right? So now in context, right? So something that simple gave us a line. So if we're playing, you know what I'm saying? So now we have a line that we can start playing with. Now, again, guys, this is just one example of a way we can take something simple like a major pentatonic line and start coming up with different ways of using it, because it don't always have to sound like this. That's cool, but we don't have to always do that same thing. We can. Right? All of that was major pentatonic. So again, and if that was too fast, simply use your settings tab to slow this video down. I'm just showing you guys there are so many different ways that we can take that very same major pentatonic line and create tons of variations. Now the trick to it is taking your metronome. Once again, Whatever line you come up with, take that metronome, slow it down, work it up to speed, clean it up, and try to work out something that you actually like. All right, and so for my final point in this particular video, because I think I'm gonna come back and talk some more about these pentatonics and using them, because this is some valuable stuff. If y'all start using this, man, it's gonna transform your grooves and that kind of thing. Now for point number 3, implement what you're creating into your grooves. So simply implement it into your grooves. So now the same thing that you saw me do in that last example. So if we're going, right? If that's the line that I'm going to create on my own using a major pentatonic, I want to incorporate it into my groove. So if my groove is going 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, and I want to get back into that groove. Now, that's the important thing. I think one of the things I've heard from a lot of really, really great bass players who are technical, but it seems like they're at a standstill. When I hear them just playing and then it's kind of noodling around or doodling around, however you want to say it, they can play all of this fun and cool stuff, but when it comes to the actual song, the implementation part is not good. Or just like they can't think of what to play. And to me, that says one or two things. Number one, either you don't practice the lines that you come up with enough, or number two, you are practicing the lines, but you're practicing them separate to the groove. Now, whatever grooves you're playing, you got to try these lines in multiple settings, in multiple ways. So if we're playing, like we're talking gospel bass, right? So for instance, if we took a more traditional groove, like in the key of C, just just a church type of groove, and I'm playing it really slow on purpose. If I took that same pentatonic idea, but I could start on a different note and try to implement it into the groove. So you see what I did? I took that same, right, and got right back in that groove. So all that is I'm starting on the 2, 2, 3, 5, 6, and then I'm repeating that, right? And I'm essentially repeating the same pattern over and over again, right? And I'm getting right back to that groove. So doing it slow in time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And so now I'm finding different ways to implement. So what are we seeing from this example? Number one, it's not always starting on the first note of the pentatonic scale. So we don't always have to start on the 1. Now the order of the notes of the pentatonic scale, once again, you have the 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and then back to 1, right? The 1 is simply the octave. I know some of you guys might be counting 1 as a 6th note, but 1 is simply the octave, okay? And so I don't have to start on the 1 every time I play the pentatonic scale, right? I can start on the 2. I can start on the 3. I can start on the 5. I can start on the 6. It's totally up to me. So one of the things you should do with the pentatonic in time, also using a metronome, practice it from different starting points as well, coming up with different combinations of how you're going to use it. Now the speed part comes back in to play when you're working with it at the time, things that we talked about on the last particular lesson, how to build speed. Now, When you go back and watch that video on how to build speed, I'll make sure I link it at the end of this video. You'll see the different exercises and my suggestion for how you guys can work towards building speed and dexterity and that kind of thing and getting faster. Well, taking these simple pentatonic exercises, working them into your playing, these are great ways to build that speed and dexterity as well, but not only just for exercises, but being able to work it into what you're already playing. This is the thing, work this stuff into what you're already playing. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Take something as simple as the major pentatonic scale and begin working it into what you're doing. So the first thing you want to do is learn how to cover the fretboard with the pentatonic scales, no matter what key you're in. Second thing you want to do is remember what it sounds like, because when you remember what it sounds like, you can also have a better idea on how and where to implement it. And then thirdly, incorporate it into your grooves. And once you do all three of these things, you're going to hear a difference in the things that you're playing, because now you're going to be coming up with way more ideas because you're thinking outside the box with a simple concept. To think outside the box doesn't require an outlandish concept. It can be a simple concept, but you can think about it in a different way. So I hope this helps you guys. I hope this gives you what you need. And remember, don't forget to claim your free bass lesson if you haven't done that already. If you guys are enjoying this content, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button as well. Turn on my bell notifications so you know when I drop videos just like these. And if these videos aren't enough, be sure to head over to JermaineMorgan.net. There I have tons of content, tons of value to offer you to help you, especially you gospel and Christian bass players that are looking to improve your bass skills and ultimately unlock your sound. Listen, guys, again, I'm Jermaine Morgan, and I'm out. Peace.